right, guys, welcome to the Go Accomplish More podcast. And today we're going to have a really, really good one. It's only me and you. Today's session is going to make you think a little bit on where your time is going and how you should be spending it. So I was thinking about something the other day and it kind of hit me. What would actually happen if I could only work 2 hours a day? Not 8 hours, not 10 hours, not being busy all day, just 2 hours. And I started thinking, not from a fantasy standpoint, but from a real CEO standpoint. What would I actually focus on? And I realized something. Most of the stuff we're doing every single day is not actually moving the agency forward. Because let's be honest, in an agency world, and even in my world running Go Staffy, we're busy, right? In Slack messages, client asking for updates, recruitment pipeline moving, internal team questions, follow-ups, fires, little things that pop up. And by the end of the day, you feel like you've worked, but did you actually grow the agency? Or did you just maintain it? That's the difference. So this exercise forced me to get real with myself. If I only had 2 hours, what would I do? What actually matters? And when you think about this for yourself too, if you only had 2 hours, what would you focus on in your agency? And I think this is a question we need to ask ourselves. As the agency starts growing, you're going to realize that your time becomes more valuable to you, right? So you don't want to be spending it in the wrong areas. So I'm going to start by saying that in my world, if I only have 2 hours a day, I'm going to be spending it in revenue-driven conversations. I'm going to start with that. If I had 2 hours a day, I'm getting on more sales calls with agency owners, strategic partnerships, high-level client conversations. So instead of checking 20 Slack messages per day, I'd prioritize one strong call with a qualified agency or a partner who can bring multiple opportunities. Because I know that one conversation like that, it's worth more than a busy day of work, right? Now I want to ask you a question. Like, what should you do as an agency owner? Where should you be spending the 2 hours? In my opinion, you should be closing more deals, focusing on sales, nurturing high-value prospects, strengthening relationships, not doing the random tasks, tweaking little things here and there, and answering everything yourself. Because remember, conversations equals revenue in your agency. I mean, you heard it every day. Like when you go to a trade show, when you go to an industry event, the more hands you shake, the more opportunities you have. One individual that you meet can open up so much business for you, right? You never know that person, that one conversation, that right account that you grab can lead to multiple clients. So building relationships is key. Number two, where would I spend in other areas? It would be in strategy, right? If I only had 2 hours a day, I'd block time to think, to strategize, to think like a CEO. The questions I would ask myself is, where is our pipeline getting stuck? Why are we closing X amount of deals and now more? How do we scale from 100 team members or 120 team members to 200 team members, right? This is more on the staffing side. Where are we losing clients? One example could be one of the biggest bottlenecks is pipeline, like check your pipeline, your follow-up, your closing ratios. So instead of just doing more work, I'd focus on fixing that. And now one thing I would also add, as you know, AI is very popular now. So use AI as a thinking tool, right? Not anything complicated, just asking better questions, getting ideas faster, seeing blind spots quicker, thinking through decisions. So tools like ChatGPT, of course, Claude, Manus can help you with that. I mean, one of the things that we do in our agency is that one of the ways that we can learn quickly is you can grab a lot of videos from YouTube and you can upload them in Notebook LM And Notebook LM will summarize all those videos for you. And it's such a great training portal. And if it wasn't for AI, you wouldn't be able to learn so quickly. So make sure that you're leveraging AI. Most agency owners don't have a work problem. They have a thinking problem, right? If you had 2 hours a day, you should be asking, why am I stuck at this level? Where am I losing leads? What's my biggest bottleneck? And you know what happens is that most of the time we don't prioritize this time because we're stuck doing the work, or we're so busy, right, every single day that it hurts us to stop and say, you know what, I'm going to block time for strategy. So number 3 is your content voice, right? I'm a huge proponent in building your personal brand. And if I only had 2 hours a day, I would also be prioritizing building my brand because I want to show up. So that includes recording content, sharing lessons, talking about agency growth. So for example, you can talk about, like in my world, is we talk about why agencies get stuck at $30K per month. What's the biggest delegation mistake I made? And why hiring from Colombia changed everything, right? So you need to find your voice because your voice is your leverage. And you can also use AI. Like I said, AI is a big proponent in giving you that edge. And most of the time when we think about AI, automatically think that it's going to replace us or it's going to take the creativeness out of us. But it's the other way around. I really believe AI is going to remove the stress of the daily tasks that you're doing that are taking up most of your energy. And it's going to allow you to think more strategically and just use it as a tool. Use it as a thinking partner that you have next to you, that you have in your phone. So you can turn literally one idea into multiple pieces by using AI. You can use this as leverage for you to create more content. So use it as a content machine. Turn one idea into multiple pieces. Help with captions, with structure, and it's going to save you a ton of time. Now, as an agency owner, you can do the same thing, right? I mean, you've heard this before. We do business with people. We don't do business with a company, right? People are going to resonate with your brand. So make sure that if you had 2 hours a day, make sure that building a brand should be part of it. You don't need to overthink it because a lot of times agency owners, we tend to overthink everything, right? Which AI tools should I use? Which systems should I start with? Which applications we should go with our agency? You want to make sure that you remove all the clutter. One of the things that I recommend is that you can also do a brain dump. I've said this before in many other podcasts is you can do a brain dump of all the things that really drain up your energy, all the tasks that you're doing consistently every single day. And at that point, once you have it on paper, then you can have AI and AI can organize it for you. And then at that point, you can say, okay, these areas, I can remove them by giving it to AI, by automating it. This area, I need to focus on this area. And then on other categories, you need to delegate it because it's not worth your time, right? So remember that AI is going to support you. It's going to help you with ideas. It's going to help you stay consistent. And it's going to help you repurpose content. So once again, you don't need to overthink it. You don't need to be technical. Just stay curious. Even if it's 10 to 15 minutes a day, continue learning. And I recommend now with AI being so popular, I heard this from an expert that, or from this individual that I follow, is that if you can spend at least 20 hours really learning AI, you're going to become an expert. That's only 20 hours. So imagine you just take a weekend and you really, really immerse yourself in AI and you start learning how it works. You become that prompt engineer. You become the person that thinking partner that you always wanted is right there, but you need to learn how to use it. And it's not hard. So once you dedicate 20 hours, I mean, literally, you can knock that out in a weekend or 2 weekends. Once you have at least 20 hours of AI training, you're going to be able to have a lot of leverage. Now, we talked about what we should be doing within those 2 hours. Now I'm going to talk about what we need to be cutting out, right? A lot of times we don't know what we should be cutting out. So first things first is we should be cutting out the low-level tasks that you should not be doing. And that includes anything that a VA can do, just give it to them. Anything that like a coordinator can do, give it to them. A system can automate stuff as well. What are some real examples? Well, scheduling interviews, sending follow-ups, updating ClickUp, basic onboarding messages. The other day in our agency, we were able to speak with the account management department and also with the recruitment department. And we were just going down the line like, hey, what's taking up most of your time? And we were able to spend about 5 to 6 hours creating a system where it's going to automate 60% of our process, of the onboarding process and the recruitment process. And just by dedicating those 6 hours, now we're able to save close to 20 hours per week because of creating that system. So it's super important that you want to make sure that you're spending time making sure that you're removing whatever is taking up most of your time, managing every small task, because then you become the bottleneck. Now, the other thing that you shouldn't be doing, like I fall guilty of that, is you don't want to be constantly checking, right? That's where you schedule meetings, right? Like periodically, you schedule meetings twice a month. And that's where you can meet with that leader to make sure things are getting done. You can also have KPIs to make sure that your team members are hitting those KPIs, making sure that everything's clear. Maybe you can tell your team member, hey, send me an end of day report so that I understand what's getting done, right? But you don't want to sound like you're micromanaging, right? That's something that you shouldn't be doing. So checking Slack all day, jumping into everything, solving every issue, you shouldn't be doing that. Instead, you should be focusing on clear KPIs, clear reporting, and structured check-ins. When you do that, you're going to feel like you're taking ownership. So in essence, you need systems and you need ownership. You need to take ownership in the areas that you should be doing and just delegate the areas that your team should be working on. And when you do that, it's going to be amazing. Now, number 3 is it's reactive work, right? A lot of times, and that's happened to me, the whole day passes by and you're like, what did I do all day today, right? I mean, I worked, but I think I wasn't working on the right things. And I was reacting to every single Slack message. I was reacting to a client getting upset. And you feel like you're in reactive mode all the time. So that's something that you need to cut out, right? Jumping into every issue, fixing everything myself. You shouldn't be doing that. There should be systems. There should be processes, and people should handle it. You need to have the right people in place. Now, if you don't have the right people in place and you don't have the right systems in place, you need to ask yourself that question, right? Is it a people problem? Is it a systems problem? I always ask myself that question whenever there's an issue. And if it's not a systems issue and it is a people problem, now, does that person get it, want it, and have the capacity to it? You got to ask yourself that question. Because if they don't, or if they're missing 2 elements from that, then you need to start considering either moving that person to another role, or you need to be looking for another person. And that's the hardest thing of running a company, is that a lot of times, you have a group of individuals that are helping you grow, but sometimes you might have 1 or 2 people that are in the wrong seat. And that's where you as an agency owner need to identify those individuals and the roles that they're in so that you can move them in the right place. Or if they just don't fit because of everything that's getting automated and with AI, then that's where you have to make that tough decision. But make sure that you're using systems, processes, and people to handle it so that you're not dragged in and doing the work that you shouldn't be doing, right? So, what does this really mean? Well, this isn't about working 2 hours. It's really about if you had less time, you'd focus on what actually matters. When I was growing my agency, one of the biggest struggles was letting go. And I grew my agency to 7 figures within 2 years and a half. Now we have a very successful staffing agency. And I've learned through the years that if you want to do great things, you need to have great people and great systems. And now with AI, you can really build great systems and you can amplify your team as well by them utilizing AI. So when I was growing my agency, I felt like I had to do everything. But that's what kept me stuck. The shift happened when I built my team in Colombia. And when I started using everything, all the systems that I had in place, all the tools that I had, when I started building creating the right SOPs for every department. And I would empower my team members to create those SOPs and to encourage them, hey, you need to start building those SOPs, not only one time. And if you don't know what an SOP is, you should. It's standard operating procedures. It's like when a pilot, right? Like every pilot has an SOP, right? Before they take off, they're actually check marking every single thing they have to do before taking off. So that's when I realized that I don't need to do everything. I just need the right people and the right systems. And now with tools like AI, it just adds another layer of leverage, right? And that should encourage you, right? The listener right now that you're listening, things are changing fast with AI, with marketing agencies, right? Even how to operate a marketing agency is a lot different than it was 2 years ago. But you want to make sure that you're using leverage so that you can be focusing on the areas that you need to be focusing on. Use leverage, use AI, use the leadership team that you have. Amplify your leadership team so that they feel encouraged. Give them a track record or a growth path for each of them so that they can see themselves growing. Because in the end of the day, you need a great team, right? I don't believe that we're going to be just the only agency owner and you're going to have like 25 AI agents just doing everything, right? That's not where it's going, right? From this point of view. I mean, unless if you're building a software agency or a software company, maybe. But even then, you still need customer support. You still need account managers. So in the end of the day, right, you got to ask that question and that sincere question to yourself. If tomorrow you could only work 2 hours, what would you actually do in your agency? And now think about this. What could you stop doing? What could someone else do? And what could AI help you do faster? Because if you don't ask those right questions, if you take yourself out of a job, right, you get the right systems, you get AI working for you, you have the right team. The goal isn't for you to do nothing. It's now what are you going to be doing? And what I recommend is that you should be doing what your superpower is, what your zone of genius is, and amplify that, get better at it. In my world, like I'm going to be speaking at this new conference coming up, right? I want to become a better speaker. I want to get more speaking gigs. So I want to develop my speaking skills, right? Even better. Building more relationships, shaking more hands, casting more vision, doing more podcasts like this, right? But I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't have leverage, if I didn't have a great team, if I didn't have AI working for me, if I didn't have the systems in place. It's not built overnight. I understand you're probably listening to this like, John, it's easier for you because you have a team of 18 or 19 people internally. But you know what? I started with one person many years ago. So you have to start with that one key person. Start with that workflow, that AI workflow that you need. So guys, at the end of the day, We don't need more time. We need more clarity. And we need to be honest with ourselves about where we're spending our time. Because the goal isn't just to grow an agency, it's to build one that gives you freedom. So take 10 to 15 minutes now, write it down. What are your 2 hours? Where are you going to spend those 2 hours? Guys, that's all I got. Really appreciate you guys. I hope this session, you're taking it to heart. And I hope that you're actually auditing your life on where you're spending most of your time. Because I think the biggest asset that you have right now, especially if you have a growing agency, is where is your time going and how are you spending it? Are you really, really working on areas that can increase revenue or that could help you increase retention, or looking for areas on why there's so many bottlenecks in certain areas? That's where you got to spend most of your time. Building relationships, building more partnerships, going to trade shows, doing the things that you have to do to build more leverage and more engagement with the people that you need to be talking with. Because I said earlier, that one relationship, I mean, there's a book about it, right? You're one JV away. You're one JV away before building a $1 million company. You're one JV away to having the company you want, that JV partner. So make sure that you focus on the things that you need to be focusing on. Guys, appreciate you guys. Do me a favor, share this with another agency owner who's in the grind right now, and make sure to subscribe and leave us a review. And I'll see you in the next one.